Hi, I'm Craig Bennett with the Craig Bennett Group at My Home Group Real Estate. Welcome to episode 3 of my podcast. So today I'm really excited to have two of my team members here, Regina Alvarez and Derek Whitneben. They're sales agents with the Craig Bennett Group, also at My Home Group Real Estate. And today we're going to really focus on a little talk about working with buyers in today's market. So the current market, as probably you know, is a little tight with inventory, so it's pretty much a seller's market. So we're going to talk about what it's like to work with buyers, what are some strategies we're all using to get our buyers' offers accepted, and kind of go from there. But without any further ado, I want to introduce Regina Alvarez and Derek Whitneben. So tell us a little about yourselves and what you've been doing.
Hi, I'm Regina. So I spent 25 years in the financial industry sector of the world and decided I needed a change. So a few years ago, I decided to get my real estate license here in Arizona. And Craig decided to take me under his wing and be a mentor for me, which I thought was awesome. And I just love every minute of it.
Great. You're doing amazing as well.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah. Derek?
So my background, kind of growing up, I grew up working in the construction industry. Really found a passion for building and developing homes there. When we originally moved here from North Carolina to Arizona, we actually started working with Craig and
also my house.
Yeah, yes, couple different houses. Really found that other passion for really torn homes, seeing the different properties out there, looking at the details, the finishes, and ultimately kind of started, kind of like Regina, a new career path in the real estate world.
Great.
And it's been great. And I have Craig as a mentor. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, it's super fun working with both of you. You have a lot of integrity, or you care a lot about your buyers and sellers, and it really reflects in the referrals you're getting and the business you're building. So that's super exciting for me to see as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about buyers. So we know it's a bit of a struggle right now with getting there's a lot of offers on the table.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what you enjoy most about working with buyers.
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah, start.
First of all, I just love meeting new people and sort of help them with their dreams and finding their dream home here in Arizona. Most of the clients I've worked with lately have been relocations from out of state, and so I've had an opportunity to tell them about Arizona, different areas within the state, help them get settled, provide them vendors and contractors and ideas and suggestions of restaurants. I mean, all over the board. So I've actually gotten to be rather friendly with several of my clients, my buyers, and I love the whole process from start to finish of getting to know them, understand them, what they like, what they don't like, and then everybody's happy at the end of the day. So that's awesome.
That is awesome. So that's great.
Yeah.
Derek?
Yeah, kind of like Regina, I really enjoy building that intimate relationship with my clients, being seller or buyers. You really get to know them on a different level when you really work with something or working with them to find or sell their home. They really open up, and they give you a lot of trust, and ultimately you help to guide them to find them the right home or ultimately sell their home. And it's just a great process. There can be some ups and downs as far as the emotions go, but when you're confident, or when your clients are confident in your capabilities, it's overall a smooth process, and they really you build a good lasting relationship with them, and I really enjoy that part of the work.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, that's what draws me to it as well. Let's talk about today's market, which again, as we've already mentioned, is a little tight with inventory. It's a seller's market right now. Talk about some of the struggles we're seeing in the market.
I think from my perspective with my most recent buyers is coming here, again, out of state, and have a certain level of expectation of what they want in a home, and then the frustration that they get right away when their price point does not match their bucket list. And so, like with any transaction and buyer, they go through a set of emotions and frustrations, and eventually make that priority list of, okay, what do I have to have versus what can I compromise? And it's sort of a meeting of the minds, and I think once they get there, it makes it a little bit easier for them. But initially, I think it's just very frustrating for people, especially out of state. But at the end of the day, we end up finding something that meets their needs, and and we closed the deal. So
Good.
yeah.
Has the level of inventory? I know, like, are you finding you're having to write a lot of offers for them, or in multiple offer situations?
Yes,
clients?
yes. Multiple offer situations, over ask, of course. I will say that my most recent relocation client that I had here a couple weeks ago, we actually had an opportunity to look at 8 different homes, which was very surprising to me. That is a huge jump from what it was before, where it was, okay, well, we have these 2 to look at today.
Right. Yeah. You actually toured homes.
Yeah. So that was fun, actually.
Yeah.
Back to wow, we actually have something to look at.
Right.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Derek, what are you finding in the struggles with your buyers in today's marketplace?
Very much same thing as Regina said. There's definitely some frustration from the buyers that I've been working with. Expectation levels are definitely higher than what ultimately some of the finishes on the home has. I guess another thing, there's some pressure that they feel due to ultimately the fast-paced environment that we have here in Arizona. If a good property comes on the market, you really want to jump on it as soon as possible, because there's probably going to be another dozen agents jumping on it and viewing that property with with their agents, or with their clients. So there's a lot of pressure that they feel, but making sure that you're just really going over and everything in detail, establishing really their needs and wants for a property. And then once you find that property, if you do jump on it and ultimately, tour it and everything goes well, there's a 50-50 shot, that we can potentially land it. So
Yeah.
it kind of feels that way, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure in this market right now.
Right. And your buyers are sensing that, and they're, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What, so looking, a new buyer comes into the marketplace, they want to buy a home. What would be a piece of advice you'd want to give them? If someone just says, "Hey, I want to buy a house in Arizona," what's kind of the first step you would tell them to do, and to get started in their home search? Like, what's kind of the first things we do?
Well, I would understand what their price point is, what their financing options are, because obviously cash buyers are a lot more liquid and flexible. If it's a lender situation, obviously we need to get pre-qualified before we even look at any properties, because we've got to know what our purchase power is.
Right.
So it really depends on their current situation, and once we understand that, then we sort of can move forward on areas and houses and the more detailed specifics that they're looking for.
Right.
So I think those are the 2 big hurdles, though, is the financing or not.
Yeah, Derek?
That, and then time frame.
True,
Kind of really knowing when your client really, if they're relocating, or if maybe if their apartment, the lease ends, or whatever the situation may be, you really want to start at that point and then work your way backwards, because the market is so different. We may find a home the first week, or it may take a couple months, unfortunately. And that is definitely a reality that we're facing in this market due to the low inventory and the high demand. So time frame is crucial. Making sure that all the financing is arranged and so forth, and making sure there's a defined area that that, hey, this is the area we want to live in. Let's focus really in this area.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say those 2 big things, besides what Regina said, are crucial as well.
Yep.
Good. Yeah. So your buyers they come to you. You got them pre-qualified. You start to look at some homes. What are some of the strategies you're employing because we're already talking about multiple offer situations,
Yes.
right? So you're in a multiple. That's going to be an issue most likely. What are you doing to help them understand that, and what are some of the strategies you're doing with your buyers to help get that offer accepted?
First-time home buyer, we had to scale back a little bit on our price point. Instead of shooting for his maximum, we had to bring it down. Let's look at this price point to give us that flexibility to go up in price if we need to. We've gone as far as waiving the right to ask for fixes to be made, but we always encourage the buyers to continue full force with the home inspection, just so that they understand the property.
Absolutely. What they're buying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's just basically trying to lay all the cards on the table with them up front,
Yeah.
so that they sort of know processes along the way and where we may need to scale back or maneuver a different way.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
Derek, same?
Absolutely
Yeah.
that. And then one thing that I've been doing as well is talking to the listing agent and really finding what the sellers are looking for, because
Right.
in this market you may find that a seller is they need a quick close, and maybe it'd be better for a cash deal or than a typical VA or financing deal that may take a little bit longer, or they're looking for a post-possession agreement or so forth. So building some of those items within the contract terms can really make your offer stand out versus someone who didn't take the time to talk to the listing agent and understand maybe what the sellers may be looking for outside of highest offer and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
been doing that. Escalation clauses can definitely help when there are multiple offers on the table.
We're probably having, so first-time home buyers in our audience today. So tell me a little bit. What's an escalation clause?
Yeah, so an escalation clause ultimately is you come in at a certain price point on your offer, and you set a limit to ultimately what you would feel most comfortably a max price point paying for that home, and you build in a language in the contract that states that ultimately your offer would go up X increment price over the highest verifiable offer,
Up to
your certain your max
threshold.
your max threshold.
Okay.
So that's an escalation clause. So we built that into a lot of the offers I've been doing. Another thing besides completely waiving appraisal, been doing appraisal shortfalls. So if a home doesn't appraise for the price point or for the offer, whatever the buyers may be comfortable coming out of pocket with.
Right.
And this can really help set you apart from an offer that doesn't have that, even though it may be the same price point or the same offer as far as a purchase price. But if you are potentially, if the listing agent thinks that the home might not appraise for that, then there's more comfort for the sellers knowing that your clients may come out additional funds. So been doing that, and then also still doing the buyer's letter to the sellers, because it can help at a certain situation. There are a lot of people buying investment properties, so if a seller has an emotional connection to their home, which I'm sure a lot of people do, would they rather sell it to an investment firm or someone that's going to potentially build this home and enjoy it like they did?
Yep.
Right. Good point.
So including those as well, and just really making the offer as clean as possible. You really don't want any contingencies.
Aside from the home inspection.
unnecessary.
Home inspection and so forth. But just doing that, and then having somewhat of a good rapport with the listing agent if you can, so there's some trust there.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that idea, and
Yeah.
as someone who lists homes, when I have a buyer's agent or someone representing a buyer contacting me, I do appreciate that, because sometimes the seller does have specific needs, right, or something that might work better for them.
Absolutely.
As far as like time frames and whatnot. That's great.
Yep.
So you find, just curious, how do you keep your buyer? I know that I've worked with a lot of buyers who you're writing a lot of offers, maybe you're looking at 10, 15 homes, you write offers. How do you keep them engaged in that process? Any strategy? Any?
I wouldn't say that it's a real strategy. It's just basically being positive through the whole process and constantly encouraging them, because they do get discouraged very quickly.
I think that's the word I was looking for. More the discouragement of writing so many offers.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just keeping it positive, and if we're going to find something, who knows what's going to come up tomorrow?
Right.
Tomorrow's a new day kind of thing. So I think that's pretty much all you can do.
Yeah, agreed. Same.
Yeah, that, and then I really try and have fun with my clients and enjoy showing the different properties and joking and keeping them laughing in a positive manner. Anything that we can continue to have some fun and positive thoughts.
So if they don't get that house, they're going to have more fun tomorrow looking at more houses.
Yeah, exactly. And
Absolutely.
Keeping them on the brighter side always helps things.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So they get a home. You get a contract accepted. This is really where I want to kind of educate the buyers on a kind of a higher level, but the contract to close portions, there's certain milestones, right? We have our home inspection, appraisal. Talk about some of the milestones that from the contract to close portion and how you address that with your buyer. Like, let's talk about the home inspection process, because that's a big concept, right? You have a home inspection, could be a lot of issues on the home. Talk about that, about the process, what it means. There's a lot of acronyms around that, the BENZER and that they may be hearing, right? Different, buyers out there.
Well, I first of all, I try not to use acronyms too much because they just don't understand it. So I would say that one of my strong suits is that I really do try to explain the process, what's coming up, set the buyer's expectations, explain things to them. I think we all have experienced when that home inspection comes back and it's, 20 pages long, buyers tend to get, especially first-time home buyers, tend to get freaked out because every little thing is listed on there. So it's taking the time, sitting down with them, going through each thing, and reassuring them, this is not a big deal. We have vendors that can help with these things. This isn't a big deal. If something is a big deal, we can have it inspected by a specific professional. They can make a decision. So it's basically just walking them through and keeping them calm during that whole process and letting them know what the expectations are. And then the time frames,
right.
The so many days on our side, depending on what was negotiated in the contract to do the inspections, the so many days on their side to respond, and then the negotiations.
Right.
Usually they work. Sometimes they don't, but they usually do. So,
good.
No, she hit it dead on the head. I can put everything that she does. Same.
Good.
Really explaining to your clients about the process and maybe over communicating it, but not really. But I mean that really helps. That any questions that they have are answered. I absolutely agree with Regina.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. No, I think that we sort of covered some of the key points. There is a lack of inventory in the market. So really having your buyer, setting that expectations that buyers understand what they're going to be. It's a great time to buy a house.
Right.
But there is going to be some challenges with possible inventory, low inventory, multiple offer situations. And I think what I see a lot of is a lot of deals get stalled out in the home inspection process. So really setting that expectation. And I know that, Regina, we talk. A lot of your buyers have done subsequent inspections. Air conditioning, pool, many other ones. You bring other people out, sewer scoping and stuff. So that's really good and helps them have a real comfort level moving forward, especially if you're maybe overpaying a little bit.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
You want to make sure that house meets their needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, guys, our time is pretty much wrapping up here. This was a great conversation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope this shed some light on the buyer activity and out there in the marketplace. And again, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of the Craig Bennett Real Estate Group podcast. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.